The acceptance of a marriage proposal by a female soldier, Private Sophia Kelabi, from a youth corps member, and the aftermath of that action has been generating quite significant public discussions. Well, let's just have that discussion this morning, part of it, with Dr. Monday Ubani, who is former second vice president, Nigeria Bar Association, and chairman, NBA Spidol. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, so the event occurred, and there have been reactions from the military so far. So far, what's your take on the reaction of the military?
Thank you for having me, Ayo. I felt a bit embarrassed, when I learned that marriage proposal and acceptance has landed a lady in detention. And so the first question I asked, what is actually the offense? What is the administrative rule that she has breached? And if there is any, what are the provisions for penalty? What's supposed to be the penalty for whatever breach she's alleged to have committed? Is the penalty putting her in an indefinite detention, which is currently what is going on? She's still in detention and has not been released. I put up an article that she should be released forthwith and apologized to, and also the young man that has been embarrassed, because I don't know what the offense is all about. Their rules, according to them, says you are not allowed to marry upon enlistment within a specified period of 3 years. What happened at that particular video we all watched was just marriage proposal and acceptance. There was no marriage ceremony that took place. She's not married yet. I know the scarcity of husbands, especially for those ladies that work with the security agencies. They have an issue that no men, usually muster the courage and the guts to approach them. Most of them are married. And most of those military men and women, officers, most of them are married before they enter into the organization. And so they are not suitable and not available to marry these ladies. And so this lady saw a very golden opportunity from a young man who I understand they knew themselves before, this particular incident, and accepted the marriage proposal. So what's the issue? What's the crime? And we also have to interrogate most of these rules that are being churned out maybe during the military era. There are those rules and all that. Because you look at a substantive law establishing these organizations, they don't contain, such things. Maybe these are administrative rules you make. We need to interrogate those rules. Do they not really, most of the time, breach the provisions of the Constitution with regards to fundamental human rights? Is there any particular rule that says you can't have a fair hearing? Even if you have committed any breach, can't you be given a fair hearing? Why must the immediate punishment be that they throw you into detention, meaning that you have been convicted? So it's clearly a cake, and it's becoming embarrassing the way we're operating even under civilian democracy. So a lot of us are feeling very absurd, with this punishment that have been meted out to this guy. And I'm here this morning to really appeal to the military authority to release that girl. So that, we're in a period of Christmas and all that.
I think that's really the word there, appeal.
Yes.
Because, just to bring it to your information, that we did reach out to a representative of the military through the Brigadier General Bernard Onyuku, who is Director of Defense Media Operations. We're still awaiting response, and we're happy to take the response of the military even now, while this conversation is going on. One of the things that has been put out, however, Dr. Ubani, is that it wasn't permitted for an officer on duty to fraternize at the NYSC camp. Fraternize is said to have been described as indulging in an amorous relationship with a trainee, such as the youth corps, and that's what's your reaction?
Yeah,
it's a disciplined institution.
Yeah, I agree. And it's important to emphasize this. Nobody wants to lower the standard of discipline with any of these security agencies. We won't canvass that. And any of them also that join these organizations understand there are rules and regulations. But I also believe that those rules and regulations usually specify processes for penalty. Are you following me? There are processes for penalty. We also have to interrogate those rules. And if you breach those rules, then you must pass through those processes, especially if there is going to be a conviction or whatever, a trial process during which you can be punished. Either you can be suspended, maybe starting with a query. A query gives you that opportunity of explaining what transpired. This issue of hearing is fundamental. I don't subscribe to the idea that the moment you are alleged to have done anything, wrong, that the best method is to throw you into an indefinite detention. I don't believe in it. You know what happened to Kuta Abiola was also, he went to work. For 2 days, nobody knew his whereabouts. Only for the agency to come 2 days thereafter to claim, oh, we are the one holding him in our custody for certain, breaches of their administrative rules. I feel that, and they kept him there for almost 3 weeks. Kept him there without any trial. So what is the offense he has committed that you cannot probably bring him before an impartial arbiter and then hear his own side of the story and then take those penal measures you want to take? Now, the second issue again is those rules. We need to interrogate them. They are not substantive law enacted by the National Assembly or State House of Assembly. Most of them are administrative rules, and we call them inferior rules. They cannot stand the litmus test of constitutional provision that guarantees these fundamental human rights. Those rights, you can only derogate them in a reasonable manner, in a democratic society, and those laws have to be enacted and explain why you have to derogate certain rights. But rights to fair hearing, you cannot derogate it. Oh, that I joined the military does not mean that I'm no longer a human being. Oh, so all my rights are taken away. That is not, this can only happen probably during the military era. And that mentality is what we're carrying over. And most of those rules also, if you interrogate them, they can't stand the standard of modernity. The issue that, oh, I accepted to marry, and then somebody now punishes me because I accept to marry. Those rules may have been enacted during the military era. It's even discriminatory. Because I understand it's only law applicable only to the ladies. It does not apply to the men. But you remember that Mrs. Fumi Falana went to court in such a matter, that has to do with the police, that a policewoman cannot marry a policeman. And she got an order of the court that is clearly discriminatory. So this one, they are asking this girl not to marry within a period of 3 years after enlistment. Does it apply to the men? And if it does not apply to the men, it applies only to the women. It's discriminatory.
Well, perhaps in the same vein is the quote that we showed earlier, and I hope we can still see it again, where Mrs. Fumi Falana also said, well, it said, in view of the fact that male soldiers have not been penalized for involving themselves in a public amorous relationship in full military uniform, the threat to sanction Private Sophia Akinlabi is discriminatory. That's ascribed to Fumi Falana, National Director of Women Empowerment and Legal Aid. And one of the things that this raises is, are we then suggesting that perhaps there are certain rules that are exclusive to gender? Because you know that in the military, as in a few other professions like that, there are no gender discriminations. All rules apply. So how then does this differ?
That is the point. That's why I say sometimes we need to interrogate some of these rules and place them side by side with the provisions of the Constitution.
But there are lawyers. My apologies for butting in. There are lawyers in the military.
You know what we did in the NBA? We have Olumide Akwata, the president of the bar, has now created a forum for military, paramilitary, lawyers, for them to interface with the NBA. We need to bring them in so that they can help also in formulating some of this legal framework, or administrative rules, and tell their guys on top that this is modern society in which we are living in. That most of the things they have in there as the administrative rules may have become a cake and no longer tenable in the modern society in which we are in. And that's why we are trying to have them be part of the MBA process. Observance of the rule of law is what MBA believes so much in. And then we are getting them involved. Because there are lawyers in these organizations, as rightly pointed out. But the point is that, obey the last command. Your guy on top says, even if it's wrong, you don't have any right to query. And we are saying that, listen, This can only happen under dictatorship. When you operate in a civilian democracy, it's a different ballgame entirely. You operate under the laws of the land. There are laws of the land.
But those, my apologies.
Yes.
I'm sure that my colleague Malkwa would want to weigh in on
Yes.
this, but there are rules, just as you have said, in the military that govern the activities of every officer there.
That's right.
And it is clear that everyone signed to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So what if it so comes out that indeed there are breaches in the laws and all of that govern the activities of the military that have been breached by this
Brilliant
young lady?
question. We don't have problem with that. I have said it earlier. These organizations must maintain their internal discipline. Nobody's against all that. But I also know that those rules and regulations must also specify processes and procedure for penalty. You understand me? Let's get this conversation enlightened so that we understand ourselves. We are not against them discipline or you sign, but you cannot sign away your fundamental human right. You must also understand that. There is no way you join any and then you are no longer a human being. Because these rights we are talking about, if you look at it, it's clearly inherent. It is not even given by the society. The conversation is that those rights were given by God before the creation of the society, fundamental human right. So nobody can sign now, I'm a military officer, I'm signing away my fundamental right to fair hearing. No, you don't sign them away.
Let me emphasize.
Now, whatever I sign, let me just say, those rules as I sign will also specify that if I breach this rule, these are the penalties.
What if?
So what is the penalty cannot be indefinite detention. The penalty cannot be that I cannot be
Dr.
heard.
Bani, just a second.
Yes.
What if,
Yes.
okay, listen to another quote now from Onyema Nwachukwu, who is Director of Army Public Relations,
Right.
the person who has spoken about this so far. He says, and I quote, "The Nigerian military, like all others, has its disciplinary codes, distinct from that of the general society. Every personnel has voluntarily undertaken to be bound by this code. Voluntarily undertaken to be bound by this code. And everyone knows the consequences should there be a breach."
Ayo, I've heard you. Now hear me. There is no way you can sign that those basic rights that the Constitution has guaranteed to you as a citizen of the country has been taken away because you are a military officer. No. If I have breached any of the rules as a military employee, as an officer, punish me in accordance with the rule, because the rule also will specify the penalty process. I must be given a hearing, fundamentally. Then you now can either suspend me or you dismiss me, or there is no particular rule or regulation in any military or paramilitary decision that will say if you commit a crime, then you must be taken into detention indefinitely without trial. I must be heard. Then you now tell me what the penalties are, because those rules will specify penalty. You understand my conversation? Look, we can't stay here and say, oh, we must now allow lawlessness in all these organizations and all that. No, we are saying that those rules and regulations they have also signed will specify the process and procedure for which...
But what if, Dr. Obani, what if the persons who signed this to be a part of the military
signs what?
Already know the consequences and already know the
What are the consequences now?
And that what if one of those consequences is to first of all go
indefinite
into that
detention?
place? What if?
I don't think it is. And I can assure you that it is not. If any military officer, let them come now on air and tell us that this is what the rule says, that immediately you breach this rule, throw you into detention indefinitely. Let them come. We're here now. I mean, this is a modern society, for God's sake.
I'm not saying it is.
So those rules are,
I cannot hold brief.
Yes, let them come and say so.
Okay. Malkwe, may have one or two questions for you. Malkwe?
Well, I think that this conversation is quite poignant, because we're in the season of love, and it's supposed to be that of good tidings, and it will seem that this is love that is not being rewarded by the military authorities. It will be interesting to see how this action has been, is being perceived within military circles, because some people would have thought that was an affront on the military institution. I mean, how can a youth corps member, who they normally call an otondo, now go and be proposing to a soldier? And usually, I mean, Mr. Obani, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. We all went through NYSC camp, and we understand the dynamics of the relationship between the military trainers and the youth corpers who are supposed to be in their custody. However, one would think that, in this season, assuming, as my colleague has said, that perhaps there was really something in the rules, and which we're not very aware of it. I mean, if there's anything spelled out with regards to love proposals from youth corps members to military officers, we're not certain. But assuming there was, shouldn't there be some sort of cover of amnesty or some sort of cover of, in the spirit of the season? I don't know. Shouldn't that apply in this circumstance?
Our leaders who run Nigeria in most times do not like it when we are happy, when there is joy. Love is an emotive thing, as you rightly pointed out. And people say that sometimes love can be blind. I may not be bold. I also served. I may not have been bold enough to propose to any of those military officers, while I was in Kano in the 90s. But this young man, I must also actually praise him. He has courage, he has gut, and love does not understand the language of whether he's a military officer or not a military officer. This boy is in love, and that girl you could see the reaction of that girl. You also can see the reaction of those ladies, those women and men that were there. They were so excited. It has never happened before. And so this young man has broken record by having the God to propose to a lady. I think that the best thing to do in the circumstance, if I were in the position of these leaders, in the military, is to probably caution the lady. It's a marriage proposal. No marriage has been consummated. The boy has 3 years within which to wait before he can marry that girl. And this girl is saying, look, this is a great opportunity. I may not have any opportunity again. What if this young man lives here and probably go and propose to another person? But let me get this guy. Well, because of social media. Could have been done secretly. Nobody will even know. So we are now in social media era. So the police and the army also have to understand, and they were not the one that videoed all that and probably sent it and it went viral. So these are things that you put into consideration and say this is clearly a matter of the heart. A matter of the heart. And when it does happen, even though these organs, who are on top now pretending, we fall in love once in a while. So I don't think that this is the time for us to now mete out this kind of punishment on this small girl and put her in an indefinite detention and she cannot see her relation in this Christmas. Yeah, young lady, please. They should release this girl and probably grant, young lady, and okay, young lady, grant her this amnesty. It's a matter of love. It's a matter of a motive. It's a matter of hearts. And this girl has found a love, and this boy has also found her lover, his own lover, and he's not ready late to go. He wants to make sure that that matter is consummated before he leaves the youth camp and all that. So please, I will appeal once again to the authorities that are concerned to really forgive this girl, this lady, and get her out of detention. And then if there's any measure they want to take by way of public reprimand or suspension and all, they can go ahead and carry, but don't put her in an indefinite detention. That again is what the human rights community is against. Most times, they derive this pleasure in locking up people, without trial. We frown against it. Nobody should be punished when there has been no fair trial and then giving that opportunity to that individual to answer to whatever allegation that has been leveled against that individual. So please, once again, Mokwe, I agree with you that we are in a season of love. Let the leaders play the role of God once in a while, which happens in all these developed economies. We see them, even when somebody has transgressed against the law. I have seen where a woman stole and a policeman arrested a woman. And when the woman says it's because of hunger, the policeman gave more money to the woman. I have seen it happen. So why is it that our leaders once in a while do not play this role of a God? We only play the role of Satan. You don't always want to punish, put her in detention. And we are so happy that we have put this girl now away. Because she has accepted to marry a bloody civilian. So please, I think they should tamper justice with mercy. That's what I would think in this regard.
Well, I understand that Colonel Yomi Dari, who is the former Director, Army Legal Services, has joined us now via Zoom. Colonel, should we say Merry Christmas to you in advance? It's going to be Christmas Day tomorrow. We're just wondering how this was perceived within military circles, that marriage proposal. I mean, looking at it right now, it does look, it looks really harmless, to be honest. It looks, as Mr. Ubani pointed out, it was the most courageous thing of that young man to be able to propose to a soldier. But it looks like it has not been received very well by military authorities. Amongst the military officers retired and serving, how was that viewed? Was it viewed with divided opinion, or was everyone unanimous that no, this young lady has to be taught a lesson? How can she accept a proposal from a youth corps member?
Well, Mokwe, good morning and Merry Christmas to you and all the crew there. Yeah, it's Christmas time truly, and love is in the air. I must first put in a caveat here that even though I've seen or heard about this proposal about the youth corps member to this soldier, I have not really read into the details. And since I was just called upon this morning to join in this conversation, no doubt I wouldn't say no. I'm just going to be here to express, what I know as the custom and tradition in the military. Let me say it here, that first, you recall that the Nigerian Defense Academy, which is the Nigerian Defense Academy, that's the place where officers are trained, to lead. And then, of course, the Nigerian Army Depot in Zaria, where soldiers are also recruited and trained to follow and accept orders. Those are just the two places that these things take place. And for the military, for example, in the Nigerian Defense Academy, you recall that in the past we'd never had women, we never had females coming in there. But right now, in the last couple of years, I can remember maybe about 8 years or so now, you find out that females are coming in as combatant officers. Then back to the depot again. There, both male and female are recruited into the mainstream of the military as soldiers. Let me also state here that sentiment and emotions must be relegated when it comes to discharge of military duties, okay? Otherwise, the soldier won't be able to carry out their duties. Just like I listened to my learned friend, brother, Mr. Ubani. Yeah, he expressed, his opinion very succinctly. In this case, we know we are all in the democratic dispensation, but notwithstanding, the duties that are assigned to the military must be carried out. You not also forget that even as we speak, it's Christmas, love is in the air, everything is happening, but we have our brothers fighting in the battlefront. We have our brothers in the Northeast zone and all over in the South, in the Southwest, and in fact all over the country, and even some of them are outside the shores of this country, trying to ensure peace. So once you are assigned a duty, you just have to address that duty. So for me, I think what must have prompted this reaction from this on the side of the military must be the way and manner that this female soldier has conducted herself. I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, this thing, you don't have to do all the, it doesn't have to be in the full glare of the public, So I am also
Colonel, did she really have any control over that? I mean, this was not her idea. Perhaps you know how love proposals happen these days. Did she really have any control over that? Whether it would be done in the open, whether people were going to be doing social media videos, that was totally out of her control, wasn't it?
Mokwe, this is the military we are talking about. Sentiments and emotions, if you allow them to take a greater part of you, then we cannot prosecute this war. We cannot carry on the business of the military.
Well,
okay?
Colonel,
Yes, we are all human. We are all human, no doubt.
If you can hear me, Colonel, you said sentiments.
Your emotions.
Okay. Sentiments and emotions. Just a second. You said sentiments and emotions should take the back seat, but not love.
Ayo, what is love? Is it not expressing your emotions and your sentiments?
I know that the military, for instance, is fighting the insurgents for the love of country.
Yes.
So,
yes,
that cannot be remonstrated, can it?
Let me tell you something, Ayo. Most of the bad incidents we had in the front line are when some female, the bandits or the terrorists started using the female as baits. Okay, they started using them as baits, and then they would dress in some seductive, manner, or pretending, to be needing help. So these are what you call sentiments and emotions. So there's no way we can run the military on that.
We agree.
But mark my words, because we are all human. Mark my words. These things. And then again, aside that, I spoke about custom and tradition. Before you sign in for military service, especially as a female, there are certain things. Mr. Obani also mentioned that. Well, we can't throw that overboard. We can't throw that overboard. It's just like in the Nigerian Defense Academy when we were there, and I'm sure it still obtains that there are certain degree of casualty, that is acceptable. Okay, and so before you go in there, you have to sign. Somebody, your guidance, they have to sign. Such that it's some kind of indemnity.
We really have to. Okay? We really have to, hang this conversation somewhere now. But the appeal is being made in the spirit of the season of love, and from your experience as someone who operated within the legal circles in the military, do you see an amnesty for this young lady, because that's what people are asking for?
Yes, yes. I'm sure someone somewhere there. Yes, it happens. It happens. So there could I'm sure there could be a review. There could be a review of her case, and then she might enjoy some maybe some sanctions, and then which might not be too strict, too bad on her career, So,
all right, thank you so much, Colonel Yomidare, former Director, Army Legal Services, for your perspectives in this conversation this morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, is that good enough for you?
It's not good enough. I'm very happy my colleague has said that there will be a review. I had expected, to hear that there is any crime that the lady has committed. And he was making the youth service environment to look like we're in Zambiza forest. This is youth service camp or training, whatever it is, and love cannot be banished, as I said earlier. Okay. Now, whatever she has committed, let them follow the normal procedure. I don't want them to put her in an indefinite detention, which is what they did with Cute Abiola. No. If somebody has committed a crime or whatever you say the person has actually breached, follow your laws, follow your procedure, and then get that person to be punished. Okay. This issue of, with alacrity, you throw somebody into... No,
Dr. Bani, we are appealing.
We're also appealing to them.
Exactly. So let's stay with that.
We're in the love season. Yeah. Please, for the sake of love for the military, I will want them to review the case of this lady and please release her so that she can join her family. All right. And God will bless the Nigerian military.
Amen. Thank you very much for your time this morning. Dr. Monday Ubani, his former second vice president, Nigerian Bar Association, as well as chairman, NBA Spittle. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We're back after now. And, okay, so it's Christmas, right? That's coming right up.
Well, yes, you've already seen our next guest, and oftentimes we get caught up in the shopping, in the traveling, and the merriment of the season. We sometimes forget what the season is truly about. Just to put that in context for us this morning, we have with us Pastor Femi Fashere, who is the National Superintendent of KICC Nigeria. Pastor Fashere, welcome to Sunrise Daily this beautiful Christmas Eve.
Compliments of the season, Malcolm. Thank you so much for having me this morning on Sunrise.
So far, so good. How would you say that we're imbibing more and more the mood and the tenets of the season? Do you see that awareness growing, or would you say that there's an over-commercialization of the season to the detriment of what the substance of the season should be about?
Yeah, I would say that you're right in both ways. There are a lot of awareness is out there. We've seen a lot of Christmas carols everywhere, and we've seen the excitement of the people going to carols. We've seen a lot of people exchanging gifts and cards, messages, e-messages, and what have you. And of course, we've seen a lot of people also shopping and trying to buy and trying to sell. So it will all come together. It's all part of the spirit of the season. However, the reason for the season is Him that was given to us out of the massive love that God has for mankind, out of the likeness of the heart of God for mankind to be redeemed and be reconciled back to Him. That is the reason for the season, really, but it all comes with all the merriment as well. As it's a season of great joy, it's a season of sharing and giving. So yes, all of this all mixed together. And I think it's all good for us, particularly in 2021. We missed out on most of this in 2020. So we're so excited about the days we are in right now.
Well, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We've been told it's not over, especially with the emergence of Omicron, which is, highly transmissible. And, of course, the economic hardship that has come as a result of the season, that's not the Christmas season, but at least COVID and its aftermath. Now, for a number of people, we know that they do try to extend a hand of giving in this season, but as we've already pointed out, it might be a bit more difficult in this period. What would you say about the spirit of giving, even when there's very little to give?
The spirit of giving is about sharing. Sharing is you sharing what you have. Out of what you have, you give. So we all have something to share. It could be material. It could be a word of encouragement. When we look at the context of the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, it's a display of love. It's a display of God's affection for humanity. So we should try as much as possible, whatever it is that we have. It can be a word of comfort. It can be a word of hope to tell somebody it's going to be all right, better days are ahead. We all have something to share. If you have material things, if you can put food on people's table, that's fine. If you can buy someone a present, that's fine. But if you cannot do that, please look within yourself. There is always something to share, something that you have that you can let someone else enjoy alongside with you. That is the spirit of the season. That is what we should learn to do at this time.
And for those who will be too engrossed, because let us not forget that, even in the Bible, Jesus was very aware of how people can worry and how they can be anxious about the future. And oftentimes people are consumed in these worries. For those who will be so worried that they have maybe nothing, not just nothing to share, because oftentimes when you're sharing with somebody who obviously doesn't have something that you're sharing with them. For those people who will say, but I do not have, I truly am in a desperate place. What message is there for them in this season?
Christmas is a reflection of hope for humanity. So I would say to you that please be hopeful. Be hopeful. Better days truly are ahead of all of us. That is how we must see things. The reason for Jesus being given to humanity is so that we can have the person of Jesus Christ and also the principles. He has come to teach us how we can get from good to better, how we can even get best out of our better situation, and even go even to be able to even better our best as well. Let us just be hopeful. There is no reason to be anxious for nothing, because anxiety and worry cannot help us. It can only make matters worse. If you are anxious about the state of the economy of the nation, the solution is not worry. The solution is for us to all dig deep within ourselves. How can we be a part of the change that is needed in our nation? How can we contribute? What is it that I have to offer? I still insist. God has not left anyone without something. Only if we can believe in what God has given to us, and we can open our eyes and we can look within, and we can be ready to share. No matter how little it seems in our eyes, that thing that looks so little in your own eyes is massive in someone else's eyes. So let us all be hopeful. Let us know that it's going to be better. That is the only thing that we need to tell ourselves at this time, based on the word of God.
But perhaps, Pastor, the challenge here is what to give. You saw the report that we played earlier, those who cannot afford to buy something they bought at a cheaper price last year, and those who say, look, irrespective of it, I have to do it. But then there are those who cannot afford it. So perhaps the question is what to give. Does it have to be something you handle with your hand that you're going to give to people? Maybe the issue is what to give, not necessarily, I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, the gift of our Lord Jesus Christ by God to humanity has come to us to give to humanity hope. He's come to give to us a gift that came to serve. He came to serve both the rich and the poor. As long as you are a human being, Jesus came to serve. He came to empower. You see, in our own measure, we can give hope to someone out there. In our own measure, we can have someone, a community, we can have a people to serve. Even in this season, you have something to give. You have encouragement to give. There is a knowledge you have that you can share. There is something that you can do to put a smile on someone's face. It could even be a word of assurance. There is something that you can give, particularly in this season, that will brighten up someone's face, even though you don't have something material to give. It's not only about material stuff. It's also about spiritual. It's also about you giving yourself. What can you do in your community? What can you do for your people? What can you do in your family? What can you do even for our nation? You have something to give, just like I have as well.
Well, Pastor, another question that comes to mind, since you're a pastor, I'm going to put it to you. People have been, for as long as I can remember of this job, we've been raising issues about the economy and things like that. And most times people would be told, pray, pray. And so there are those who are wondering, look, Pastor, I've been praying. In fact, I prayed for a Merry Christmas. I prayed for a blissful 2021. And it would seem like this is where we are now. And we are talking about Christmas. It's a season of joy. And it seems like there is nothing joyful around. What would you say to such a person?
To start with, we have to make sure that we get our assessments correct. Number one, there is something to be joyful about. The fact that we are alive and well. Not all of us that are alive today. We are not just the only ones that saw the beginning of this year. A lot of people, better people, more resourceful people, wealthier people, spiritually more sound people have passed in the course of the year. So we have something to be joyful about, that we are even alive and well. We have something to be joyful about if you're out there and you have assessed your year and you are getting to a point where you want to be depressed and you are saying, no, what has 2021 brought for me? I know 2021 hasn't given you all that you thought it would give to you, but it has surely given you something. Is it the health that you want to talk about? Is it your family? Is it your friends? If you have a job, is it the job? If you don't have a job, is it the capacity for you to have a sound mind that you have, that is not something to be joyful about? We all have something to be joyful about. That is number one. Number two, the Bible tells us that we should pray. Jesus, if I said we should pray until our joy is full. So yes, we have to keep on praying. And we don't have any other choice than to pray for the things that we don't have, because all things come from God. And the way we communicate with God is via prayer. However, prayer alone is not going to be enough to deliver to us all that God has planned for us, either as individuals, either as a state, or either as a nation. We have to also understand the principles that will bring to us the things that we desire. You want to be loved. You want people to love you. You must love people. You must also get out of your way. While you need love, the little love that you have, you must sow it. You must reach out to someone, because the principle of seed time and harvest will come to play. Whatever a man soweth, same he will reap. There are principles by which your prayers will become effective. Those principles, we have to know them. We have to engage them.
Yeah.
And we have to take advantage of them.
Well, just one more question from me before I throw it back to Malpo in Abuja. Now, Christmas has lessons. And I would like to ask you, for those in authority who, at various levels in the nation, who are contending with the myriad of issues for which they got the job to be in leadership, what are some of the lessons from this season that you think they can use to tackle some of the challenges that we are contending with in the nation?
Sometimes when you look at the responsibilities on the shoulders of those who are in leadership, you just have to feel for them, and hence we have to, as a people, pray for our leaders at all times. We have to encourage them at all times, because they have a huge responsibility. But also they, when I say even they, particularly if we're talking specifically about those who are in government, those who have been voted in, the reason why I say that is because every follower is also a leader in his own right. We are all leaders, and these principles will apply to everyone, whether you are in government or you are in your private business or you are in your own home leading your own thing. Number one, the lesson of Christmas is about love. If you have love for the people, there is no extent you cannot go. As a leader, if you have love for the people, as a president, if you have love for the people, and when I say for the people, I'm not talking about a cluster of people. I'm not talking about those who are loyal to you. I'm talking about the people that you have taken responsibility to govern, to look after, to make their lot to be better. I'm talking about you loving them whether you are from the north or you are from the south. Loving them whether you are from the east, whether you are from the west. Loving the people. When you love the people, there is no extent you cannot go to make life better for them, to make life easier for them. God gave his only begotten son, made the ultimate sacrifice because of the love. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave. Love is critical for a leader who is responsible for others. You must love them if you want to do the exceptional, particularly in the times and the season that we live in. You must have, number two, you must have a large heart. You must have a large heart, because there is no way some people will not offend you. There is no way some people will not say things that will probably disappoint you. But you must be quick to forgive. You must be quick to forgive. You must look for ways to forgive. God looked for a way to forgive the sin of humanity. Hence, the gift of our Lord Jesus Christ. Number 3, it's important even in the times that we are in, that our leaders sell hope to the people. Our leaders must sell hope to the people. Our leaders must let us know that there has to be a way out, even when they don't have the way out. The birth of our Lord Jesus Christ gives every man the hope that indeed we can be reconciled back to God. And indeed, man can then walk again the path that God has laid out for him from inception. Number 4, our leaders must empower the people. Jesus was the power of God given to humanity. We must empower the people. We must empower the women. We must empower the youth. We must empower even the old to be able to pass down effectively the things that the youth need to know, so that when it's time for them to lead this country, they can be well informed. Empowerment is key. You know, and I'm talking about empowering people in the north and people in the south, all over the country. That is critical for leadership. That is going to make Nigeria great tomorrow. Also, those who are in government must understand that they are there to serve. The mentality of people in government thinking that they are there to be served should go away. Jesus came to serve. Our leaders must serve. Yeah, go on.
Pardon me, I
Martha.
thought you were done with that answer. And indeed, our leaders must learn to serve. But you know, you do know that there are a number of people who increasingly are losing faith in religion in general, be it Christianity or Islam or any other religion at that, because of how we have practiced it in Nigeria. There's still many questions to be asked about how a people so religious, you know, have the kind of country that we have. And some have put it down to religion itself. Only recently, I think Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka was quoted to have, you know, had some issue with religion in recent times. And there have been questions as to how, as a result of how we keep hoping that it will be better, we tend to take little or no action and keep hoping that, you know, God will do it all for us. How are religious leaders taking this in their stride, this attendant lack of faith in religion, and how are they also ensuring that those who are religious, those who practice the faith which they profess, truly practice it, not just when they're in the churches, but see it as a way of living?
Yes, you're absolutely right, and I want to say that this is not the problem. This problem is not isolated in Nigeria alone. You know, all over the world, we see things that are contending with the faith of people, faith in God. When you see the economic crisis out there, when you saw like the pandemic, and by the way, all these things have been prophesied, all these things have been written in the Bible, that towards the end times, we're going to see all these kind of things, and even people, their faith will be challenged. So all these things that we see, they've already been foretold. However, I still want us to understand that there is a place for religious centers like the church. Just imagine, in as much as we're saying that with the churches in Nigeria, for example, how come Nigeria is still this way? I think the question, I will flip that question, and I will ask the question, just imagine if there wasn't a church in Nigeria, what do you think would be? What do you think Nigeria would be like? For example, I know that people taking the advantage of coming to these religious centers weekly, for example, it gets the people to be sane in their minds. It gives them hope. It gives them a measure of faith. Imagine somebody who didn't have a job after having been to school, after having spent the family resources, and then 10 years after, you don't have any good job. You know, that kind of a person can be suicidal. But thank God for a place where the person can go to on a weekly basis, and somebody will sell the hope of Christ to the person. This we just have to acknowledge this. Number two, imagine if there is no place where moral is being preached. What will happen in our society? Yes, we have a lot of work to do as spiritual leaders in the land. We sure have a lot of work to do. But we can still not take the responsibilities of the behavior of the people outside of the church. We can't take the responsibility. Our responsibilities as leaders in churches, for example, is for us to preach the word. Give them hope, give them the word of God that can help them to build up the faith, but they have to go and practice it. We will keep on doing what we are called to do, but then the people must also, like I said, they must also see themselves as leaders to go out into our world and do the right thing and lead people to do the right thing. But we will continue to do that in our churches. We will continue to preach the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, and it is through that gospel that Nigeria can be a better place.
Thank you so much, Pastor Femi Fasheru. We really appreciate your time with us here on Sunrise Daily. Once again, Merry Christmas to you and, of course, members of your church as well. Pastor Femi Fasheru is the National Superintendent of KICC Nigeria, and he's joined us via Zoom from Lagos. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Well, we'll take a break at this point. We'll be back to sink our teeth into something, hopefully, that will be a little lighter. In just a moment, please stay with us.
You know, there are some times when people segue from one profession into another, from banking into construction, from cake making into building, or whatever it is. And this morning I have someone who has segued from, well, he's into one, but he's trying to do, he's a crossover artist. Okay, Bakassi joins us this morning.
Good morning, Ayo. How are you doing?
Okay.
Compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season.
Yes. What are you having for Christmas?
I'm the one asking the questions. I'm the one asking the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, as you notice, your chair is red. You're in the red chamber. So.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That is I'm in the Senate of this show. You are in the dark chamber. All right. It's nice to be here, actually. I don't know what's happening in your own area, but my own area, the kind of money requests we are getting this period, I don't know. This is the time when people should be channeling their problem to their representatives in the National Assembly.
I was wondering.
Talking about red chamber and green chamber.
I was going to ask you, are you a politician? Why are people...
No, if I'm a politician, you would have known. At least my escorts, all the paraphernalia of office.
But they won't be in the studio with you.
Yeah,
so
they won't be here with me, but I will be taking my time to speak. You know, they don't rush words the way I'm rushing words. They are not usually this fast. They take their time. They are more deliberate. They are more like.
Give me an example.
I don't even know how you guys do their interviews. You know, because sometimes I watch them on TV. One person takes like how many seconds to do? We in the green chamber. Is it that you're thinking what to lie about, or sometimes? What is the long pause?
But you are a presenter too now. You ask questions sometimes. So.
Your money gets to a certain point where you can't afford to speak normal. You have to be deliberate. Otherwise, anything you say may be used against you by the people that you mislead. Not the people you lead, the people you mislead. Anyway,
okay, so
our relationship with politicians is that of the unproductive but organized, taking advantage of the productive but disorganized. That's
a problem where you have a comedian who is intelligent.
That's our relationship.
Please decrypt. What do you mean?
No, it's simple. You know, if you look at the politicians, okay, they are a very organized and unproductive few. who are in
How
charge.
do you, what do you mean by they make laws?
Laws
Yes.
that do what?
That for good governance of the nation.
Does this country look like a country that is operating based on any coherent laws?
Look, even one of the laws that will govern us in the year 2022 is the appropriation bill, the budget.
Appropriation?
Yes.
Okay. Even the people who enforce the laws are confused. And I'll give you an example, okay? Let us look at what is happening in Kano State about the girl who just won Miss Nigeria, okay? So you find in a state where as a 13-year-old you can be married off, but as an 18-year-old it's illegal for you to contest in a pageant. So which law are they operating?
Well,
which people made that law?
Please, don't come and put me in trouble. You were talking about people
You're not
making...
allowed to buy beer.
I don't want to.
You're not allowed to buy beer even this Christmas.
Look, that's a job for the...
But the VAT of the beer.
That is a job for the National Assembly. If you feel very strongly about that, tell your representative to present a bill to counter it.
No. But this period, the bill that we are interested in and our representatives presenting is our Christmas bill. You know? Let them take care of our Christmas. I'm tired of people sending me text messages, okay, find something for Christmas. Find something for Christmas. I'm not in any of the chambers. You understand? These guys who have been handling bills all year round, let them handle people's Christmas bill this period. They are on recess now. They are supposed to be with their constituents. Let people go and meet them.
What? But the people will still go and meet them. There's some people have to... Your own constituency, you have your own constituency.
Do we have even... I mean, the showbiz constituency.
Yeah, exactly.
The most marginalized currently. We have suffered.
You guys need to protest.
Look, all through the pandemic, different sectors we are catered for. Nothing for showbiz. And we are the most hit. Anytime they say lockdown, restrict movement, reduce crowd, slash 50% in public places, we take the hit.
But don't forget that some of your boys now do skits, and they do it at home. So
they do skits. These skits are supposed to go on social media where they can be monetized. But government is also indirectly clamping down on the social media that will monetize them. So they are taking away from us, from event venues, and they are taking away by shutting down social media.
I can say that can get you away from all this?
You people just want to leave us stranded.
Lamentation of
Then some of these preachers now have even gone further to say that comedians will not make heaven. So we are on earth here. Government will not let us make money on earth. Then the religious people are not saying we are not even going to make heaven.
You know, something came to mind when you came into the studio the other time. I was like, just imagine, what would it feel like if you had a comedian for a preacher?
That he will be very, very good. First of all, your business is you talk for a living, you make people laugh for a living. Of course, once you become a preacher, it's a healing ministry. Yes. No, some of us are considering it as our retirement package.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm even playing with names right now.
Okay.
Yes. The high and low order of the Holy Ghost Persuasion Ministries, a.k.a. Jesus is my bulldozer.
So what will I leave about God is own?
I don't know. I'm just, because if you go to CAC now, I'm sure all the names are taken. So this is my name, I doubt. Now that I've let it out of the... let nobody take it before I register.
What's the name again?
The high and low order of the Holy Ghost Persuasion Ministries, a.k.a. Jesus is my bulldozer. If they have that name as CAC, then there'll be problem. If they've registered that name, then I'll have problem with somebody.
Okay. Now, it's Christmas Day tomorrow. What are some of your favorite Christmas memories?
My favorite Christmas memories, favorite. Considering my age, I officially stopped celebrating Christmas a long time ago. Immediately you get married and have children, you suddenly take back burner. You're no longer relevant. Everything is about the children. So
I just saw him, just to buttress that, I saw a man, my colleague, Kelly Magua, was asking this man about, Christmas chicken, and the man said, the thing is very expensive, 7,000 to 8,000 naira, about 50% lower than what I bought it last year, but I must buy it because of the children.
You see, and if you look at my own generation, I think my generation, we are marginalized. I grew up when parents felt it was a taboo for only you to eat one egg. You understand? In my house then, if you dared ask for one whole egg, it would look like you're committing a crime against animals. Because one egg is equal to one full fowl, only you. So they will peel one egg and divide, amongst you and your other siblings. Okay, and we took it like that. Then I was raised to feel like I'm entitled to the head of chicken. Because I don't know the kind of indoctrination that led to them telling me that as the first son, you have the head of any animal that is killed. And because they were killing chicken in the house, so the head of chicken. And growing up, I was always defending that. Anytime they brought chicken for Christmas, the head is my own. I will announce it. The head. Then I grew up, I realized there's nothing in the head of the chicken. No meat, the head of chicken. How did these people brainwash me to think that the head is my own? You understand? Then by the time I was old enough to now buy full chicken, they had lifted the ban on children eating chicken lap. In my own time, it was my father that was eating the lap. And me, the head. Now I'm a father. The children are now qualified to eat lap of chicken.
Who lifted that ban?
I don't know. My brother won't lie to you. The first time in Lagos, I walked into a fast food and I saw one child with one full lap of chicken. I shocked. To me, it was like a crime against, come on, this small picking with full lap. Because I grew up splitting one egg and being entitled to chicken head. Now this small kid is digging teeth into one full lap of chicken.
Your own is even better. When I was growing up, it was the chicken feet.
That's what I'm saying now. When, those days they will give you the chicken head. Mm-hmm. But I think out of guilty conscience, your mom will feel like, this boy may not be getting enough protein from this head. Let me support it with this. That's the place they call the waka pan. So they'll couple the head and one of those. I don't even know how we grew up. How did we find protein to get installed? Some of us, our growth would have been stunted. Who knows, maybe I would have been like Akim Olajuwon if they gave me a chicken lap as a kid. Anyway, so Christmas season is for the kids. For me, in my business, this is when we work. Because practically what we do this period is, while the rest of you are busy catching your phone and enjoying with your families, all of you big people.
Which people?
You now.
Me at
that
work
we see
now.
on TV now. You understand? All of you. Oh, you think you're not a big man? In your community, they are listing you as one of the most prominent people. Be deceiving yourself that you're not a big man. In the eyes of your community, they see you on TV every day. So they don't meet you, they don't come to you to borrow money. Me, anytime people see me on TV, it's a reminder that, hey, this is the guy that will pay my rent.
Okay, you are talking about your memories.
Yeah,
that's the food part.
Yeah, the Christmas memories. Of course, for me, Christmas Day then, as a child, you looked forward to Christmas Sundays or Christmas service because you know that the cooking at home will be different, okay? The supplies will be more. So, unlike the usual head, some other things will back it up. Then soft drinks will go with the food. That there's some things we are special. Not like now that rice is all common. Way back then, rice was a specialty. Now Sundays then they cook rice. Rice not be they cook every day.
But my time, it was Christmas Sunday and Easter Sunday.
Yes.
Other days and New Year Sunday.
Yes, you'll find all that thing. And any family where they cook rice, then you go know. Because mothers had all this round big tray. So by Saturday, they select sand for the rice where they will cook on Sunday. Not like now that rice has gone through. In front of all the compound, you see all the mothers there. And they'll be conversing. Then we, the children, will be running around because your mom will be. What's special? Then masquerade will go to the village. We from the southeast, for some reason, at this time of the year, we all head back east to spend time with...
Yeah, last year you were...
Yeah, this year I will still go to the east, but I'll spend the 25th of December in Lagos. But at some point, we'll go to see our old folks. We can't leave all those old people alone by themselves. You know, they need to feel the warmth and love of family as well. So, you know, the memory then, you know, go home, watch masquerade displays, see some cultural performances, hang out with other kids, cousins who are back, you know, as well, get to meet your cousins, and, you know, those were the beautiful memories. Unfortunately, the way the country has gone now, we are worried about security, you know. You don't even know if, as we are planning to go see some old people in the village, whether some people are planning to kidnap you for ransom. You understand? So you're seeing yourself as somebody who will be going back home to impact on the locals, but some people are seeing you as their source of revenue when you come back. You know, so
which is why
it's crazy.
All kinds of advisory have gone out. The DSS, the police. Look, be covert in your conversations. You know, don't show yourself too much and all those things. Let's hope those things will help, and we all can take.
You know, the thing is that honestly, I won't lie to you. When government officials turn advisors, I may be worried. You understand?
Well, those are things that I think. I mean,
yes, but the police should be doing more than advising us. You understand? Okay. If you're advising me now that I shouldn't, you know, be covert about... Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense to be covert, don't get me wrong. You know, but you guys know the potential flashpoints. You know, do something. What is in place to make sure that we are safe, that there's an emergency response, beyond advising me not to post.
Even all of that have been put out. Yeah. All of that have been put out. I remember the IG, I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago, he was also putting out, you know, word to his personnel to ensure that they do the needful and ensure that as many parts of the country are safe.
For those of us who are in the East, that's another opportunity for them to line up checkpoints from Benin to my village. And those places will now become points of extortion. So if you're going to the east now, those who are traveling by road, I feel for them. Because you will see one checkpoint here, and from that checkpoint, you'll be seeing the next checkpoint. The guys is that is for your security, but those things are mini toll gates.
Okay, I asked you for your childhood memories.
Okay, my childhood
and the knockout.
But this is part of it now.
The knockout, the bangers, and everything that you threw back then.
Did you participate in any of those? Did you play with carbide? Some of those things we hear now that they are not very good. But those days, carbide. Oh, you didn't play with carbide. You didn't shoot carbide. You missed now. Which village did you grow up? You missed a lot. Oh, you were a Jebota. Jesus,
I wish.
You don't play carbide.
You know.
Did you even roll tire?
You know. What are you talking? Please don't. I'm the one asking the questions.
Did you construct Boris?
I am the one asking the questions.
These are memories now. You're
please,
asking for.
ask him your own questions.
You're asking for memories.
Well, I want to say, same side with okay, Bakassi this morning. First and foremost, I'm sitting on a red chair as well. I'm wearing a red cloth, so I mean we're both in the same in the Senate of this program this morning together. But I'm wondering, I mean, looking at a host of things that have happened throughout the year, people are still going to be hopeful. They're still going to be celebrating the season the best way they can. Going through social media yesterday, though. Oma Wumi was saying that her song, Oga Buy Me Bottom Bele, was reading on TikTok. And it's for a reason. So there are questions about how the male constituency have been represented in this Christmas period. Can you speak for that constituency?
Yeah, our gender, the male gender, we've become endangered species. And women may not understand. I've been doing a lot of research. You can see that in Nigeria, we have more widows than widowers. A lot of the men are dying trying to defend their head of family title. You understand? And some of us now belong to a group of men who are proudly saying the women should do and take over, you know, and become leaders. Men in Nigeria run what I call an unofficial NGO. They are providers for less privileged women and children. That is why sometimes you see some men being bullied and dragged all over the place. now women go finish your money, you are a bloody womanizer, you're a useless womanizer. No, he's not useless. He's just an unofficial NGO. A lot of them are filling in the gaps for where government is lagging behind, where people are not providing. Why are you looking at me like that? You asked the question, I'm trying my best to answer. So you see,
it's P-Square that saying you chop my money, and we are trying to chop the money, and you're not making the money available.
Exactly. No, they are. But you see, it's women working against women. So some of these men want to actually bring this money to be chopped, but their wives are saying, where? School fees will come in January. You better behave yourself. You know, so if you do your damn, you don't, so. But anyway, on a more serious note, I think the men in Nigeria are really, they are trying. Our agenda, we are really trying. You will agree with me, Ayo, here, that we're doing our best. Despite the fact that nobody's really taking care of us. You know, if you check the international calendar, you have International Day of the Women, the girl child, Mother's Day. Women have like half of the public holidays on the calendar. Men, the one Father's Day that we have, nobody even remembers. Even we ourselves don't even remember. Even we ourselves will not remember. So I'm sure this Christmas, a lot of women will be getting presents from their husbands, but most of the men won't be getting.
It sounds like you're campaigning for the men. What do you want the women and children to do for fathers?
This Christmas, please, I think it's a time for people to begin to pay attention to their fathers. Beyond when you cook, you bring out one plate. Maybe take your father to the spa this period. Because if you go to all the salon now, they are busy. The women are getting their hair done for Christmas. Those who will need makeup artists have hired the people who will do their makeup for Christmas Day. They have their clothes all arranged. But if I ask most of us here now, we are not planning Christmas clothes. Do you have any arrangement for Christmas clothes?
No. Let's ask Marco if she has one for her.
No, they have already. They have sorted their own.
I mean, for the family. You said that they should prepare for the family.
Take care of your father this period. Take him for manicure, pedicure.
Yeah?
Most men have not. If you ask half of the men here, they've never gone for manicure, pedicure before. Take one father for manicure, pedicure this Christmas. Let him just feel like a human being. Okay, sorry, people.
Some people will say, is that why people kicked out our gender equality bill? I mean, we've had to step it down over and over and over again, and it's simply not right.
Gender equality.
I'm hoping that in the new year, it will get better treatment.
Women are stronger than men in Nigeria. When women talk about gender equality, women are already powerful. You understand? What we need to do is to talk to some of our brothers, especially up north, to allow them unleash their full powers. But if you talk about power, women are more powerful. From my own personal research, even from the scriptures, they are very powerful. Do you know that in the first 6 years of a child, the mother wires the child? The mothers determine who the child loves, even in later life. We are financiers and providers. But NGO, supplying money. Women are that powerful. Do you know that in every family, the dialect you speak is most likely your mother's own, not your father's own?
That's why it's mother tongue.
That's why it's mother tongue. That is how powerful they are. They control the husbands. Forget all these suits that people wear outside. When you see them, they spread. Once you get home, your wife decides where you hang your trousers and where you keep your shoe. That is how powerful they are. Then they're still talking about gender equality. Yeah, they're that powerful, But
in the Senate, in the House of Representatives, the equality is not there.
No, okay. On a serious note, now, I think we should give them the opportunity to, handle more roles when it comes to leadership. If you look at how many years of independence, if Nigeria is not doing well, we cannot blame the women. We have not seen one woman head of state. If this country has been run poorly, it's the men. So I think come 2023, we shouldn't just be thinking about which zone. We should be thinking about maybe it's time to give women this opportunity to lead this country. Because you find out that anytime you give men opportunity, they embezzle and embezzle and embezzle, and half of what they embezzle end up in the hands of women. So let us give women.
And then what will not happen?
They are better money managers.
And they will not give it to the men?
Haven't you noticed that any money will enter your wife's hand when they come out?
On this note...
Maybe we'll stop borrowing. They will save
On
money.
these notes,
They will
please.
save money. Let's allow these women run this economy.
Okay. Enough.
I don't want to cause domestic problems for you.
Okay, Makasi is a comedian. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. A few messages just before we go. This one is from Benjamin Sawyer, I think. No, I'm not sure about this, but it says, okay. Oh, okay. This is from the Director of Defense Information, Major General Benjamin Sawyer, who says, on the issue of copper female soldier love proposal, the rules on the issue of ineligibility to marry within the first 3 years of enlistment is applicable to both male and female military personnel. Rules and regulations are made to ensure good administration and administration of justice. No one is against the military personnel showing love, but you cannot do it when deployed for duty. She committed an offense of fraternization. She was kept in detention pending the end of the investigation.
But it's the season of love, so we'll continue to appeal to the military authorities to temper justice with mercy. Fraternization, it was not with the cults, it's at least with, you know, a member of society, a core member. I'm hoping that, you know, that will at least, you know, hopefully do something about how it is that military authorities handle this particular story. A lot of Nigerians do feel very strongly about it. Paul Daniel, for instance, says she broke the military rule which she signed up to. You cannot, for the sake of fundamental human rights, perpetrate acts of lawlessness. We should stop being emotional. The rules are the rules. The military does not join issues with civil society.
Not done with this issue. Jacob says, please let that young, brave female soldier and her man enjoy love. Kindly release her. It's just a marriage proposal. Let love lead. Everyone needs love. They are humans with emotions, with everything happening around the world, pandemic and all that. Let's support this young couple.
And Ishaku Saji says, no law is immune to necessity and nature. Let this marriage be unifying, please.
And Lenam says, social media blew the issue. I was born and grew up in the barracks, and this case is not as peculiar as they are making us believe. Thousands of marriages like this have taken place. And
AGK Eze says, the military is a very disciplined organization, and we're thankful for it. I went to a school under the auspices of the Nigerian Army, and one of the rules is obey and ask questions later. However, I also know that the Army is made up of humans with feelings and emotions. I therefore appeal to the humanity of the Army and ask that the soldier be released with adequate reprimand for actions whenever they or wherever they have contravened the code of conduct for officers and men and women of the Army. So, see, if you are to ask me, I said the eyes have the day on the appeal. So let us hope that the Army will give us a Merry Christmas present with news of her release on this one.
Well, if only the eyes could have it in the military. Well, that's the show today. Thank you so much for watching and have a blissful Christmas. I'm Ayo Makinde.